This is Coach87, and I'll be demonstrating how to play PS1 games with DuckStation on Linux. DuckStation is a PlayStation 1 emulator I use for playing my PS1 games on Linux. This emulator is currently available on Windows, Mac, and Linux. Unlike with my RPCS3 video, I will be using GPU screen recorder, so there shouldn't be any issues with showing off games in full screen mode on the Steam Deck. Also, make sure to watch the RPCS3 video before continuing with watching this one, as we will need RPCS3 for a specific task later in this video. Anyway, first we need to visit the DuckStation website. If we were on Windows, we would click on the Windows button on the screen. Since we are on Linux, we'll click on Other Platforms, which will take us to the DuckStation GitHub page. Here's the README section for the DuckStation emulator on GitHub. Click on this link for the latest releases. Scroll down until you see a link that says DuckStation-x64.appimage and click on it to download the app image file. By default, the file should download to the Downloads folder. Now let's open the directory where we downloaded the file. Don't mind me deleting the rpcs3.buff file. That was for something else. Now, like with the rpcs3 video, we need to bring up the properties for the app image file we just downloaded. Then we need to click on the permission tab and click on the allow executing file as program checkbox. This will be needed in order to start up the DuckStation app image file. While optional, I decided to move the DuckStation app image file into a different folder. Next, we need to make sure that we can view hidden files. Go to the View option and select Show Hidden Files. As you can see, I've already done this. This will be needed in order to get the BIOS files we need for DuckStation without resorting to piracy or owning an actual PS1. When you are ready, head to your home folder with the hidden files visible. Remember when I mentioned about the RPCS3 video? You need to make sure that you have installed the PS3 firmware to RPCS3 for this next step. On Windows, would just head to the directory above to find the needed BIOS file. Since we are on Linux, we will be navigating to this directory instead. Copy all the BIOS files here into a directory you want to use for DuckStation. Don't forget to back up your files. For me, I'll copy the BIOS files into a BIOS folder in the same directory that I've copied the app image file in. Now we are ready to start up DuckStation. Double-click on the DuckStation app image file. This is the welcome screen for DuckStation. On the BIOS image tab, we want DuckStation to point to where we have the BIOS files stored. On the Game Directories tab, we'll be setting where we want DuckStation to look for our game. While you can't set DuckStation to search recursively, meaning being able to see subfolders for games, I won't be doing that for this video. You'll see why later. For the Controller Setup tab,
this is where we set our control. Since I'm on a Steam Deck and I prefer gamepads over keyboards and mice, I'll be mapping the PS1 controls to the Steam Deck's controller. Also, I'll be mapping the open pause menu hotkey to the deck's Steam/guide button. The open pause menu hotkey acts as a menu overlay for the emulator, similar to what you see on modern game consoles when you press the guide/PS/home button on your favorite controller. For now, we won't mess with the graphics setup for this emulator. We'll delve into this later in the video. For those who really like achievements system first popularized on the Xbox 360, you can look into retro achievement. This video won't be covering this, however. Click on the finish button to see the interface for DuckStation. Right now, I'm just customizing the interface for DuckStation. On this is where I'll be further customizing the controls for the Steam Deck, including using that hotkey I previously mentioned. You can also have multiple presets for your controls if that interests you. It looks like here I'll need to create a new preset profile. Normally, you would want to have a button for turning on and off the analog button to be able to use the analog sticks for PS1 games that support the feature. But since I want to have the Steam/guide button to access the overlay menu or DuckStation, I will be unbinding that button from the analog button. Apparently, I was able to map the analog button to the 3-dot button on the Steam Deck. On DuckStation, it comes up as miscellaneous 1. Here's where I map the Steam/guide button to the open pause menu hotkey. Note the tooltip here. This mentions how to change a binding, add additional bindings, and how to clear a binding. For my purpose, I'm going to add an additional binding since I don't feel comfortable without having a keyboard option to bring up the DuckStation overlay. Don't forget to apply your preset. It would be a shame to lose your progress. By default, DuckStation will create a virtual memory card on a per game basis. This is because the PS1 memory cards don't hold much memory. Now we add a PS1 game to the emulator. For this video, I will be dumping my copy of Siphon Filter. For those wondering how I'll be able to copy a disc on a Steam Deck, well, I'm using an external DVD drive. When the disc shows up, make sure to not mount the drive. The CD ripping software we need will have a harder time copying the disc if it is mounted. Now we need some software to dump or copy our game from the disc. I'll be using a piece of software called Brasero. Most Linux users will likely be using Plasma Discover or the GNOME software program to download Brasero.
Since I'm on Nobara Linux, I will be using Flatpost for downloading the Flatpak version of Bracero. Once that is installed, it's time to start up Bracero. Start up Bracero. On this screen, you want to select the disk copy option. Select the disk you wish to copy. It should be selected by default. Then select the path you want the file to be saved to. Click on the Properties button to change the file path and the file name. For this example, I will save this file in the Siphon Filter folder in the Downloads directory. Since DuckStation likely can't read .toc files, I should have renamed the file extension to .q. We will fix this later. We finally got done dumping the game disk. Now we want to rename the siphonfilter.toc file to siphonfilter.q file and rename the siphonfilter.toc.bin file to siphonfilter.bin. Then we want to open the siphonfilter.q file with a text editor. I will be using the program Kate to open that file. Here you want to change the data file from what is surrounded in quotations to siphonfilter.bin. I forgot to remove most of the path for the data file. Now you want to close the text editor. Next, we want to create a playlist file, specifically a M3U file for Siphon Filter. I'll name this file siphonfilter.m3u. Like with the other file, we want to open this M3U file with a text editor. Now, type in the following that you see above. If this was a multi-disc game, it would look something like what's above. Making a M3U playlist file makes swapping discs much easier. In this game's case, it is unnecessary, but there are plenty of multi-disc games released on the PlayStation 1. Now that we got that taken care of, let's move the Siphon Filter folder and the M3U file to the directory where we will be storing all of our PS1 games in. Back on DuckStation, click on the Scan for New Game. DuckStation now sees our game, but it doesn't have a cover. Let's fix that. Select the Tools menu and select Cover Downloader. On this screen, you can grab covers from various GitHub pages. Open up a browser and go to the following URL. Scroll down to where you see the text above and copy that text. paste the text in the large text box for DuckStation's cover downloader and click on the Use Serial File Name checkbox. Then click the Start button. Close the window. Now we have a cover for Siphon Filter. Double-click on the game to start it up.
Studios.
When does the operation begin?
Our intelligence within the FBI was not.
I've got an ID match for Romer on level 1. Juju is on level 2. No location yet for Kravitch, and I don't see any sign of error log.
Copy. I'm on my way.
This is how the game looked on the PS1. So let's try changing some of the graphics. Press the button/key that you've assigned to open the pause menu hotkey. For me, it's the Steam/guide button. Here, we can make a variety of changes. The game properties option allows us to change various options on a per game basis. The settings option will allow us to make those same changes globally. For now, I won't be making any changes. Now I'll make a few graphical changes to make the game look a bit better, starting with upping the resolution. Much better. Now let's see if we can get rid of those wobbly polygons that is so common in PS1 games. To do that, we need to go to the graphics settings and select PGXP Geometry Correction. To quit a game, just press the Open Pause menu hotkey and select Close Game. If you don't care about creating a save state, select the bottom option.